And I will say this on separation of church and state. How many people have heard that phrase before? Separation of church and state. Okay, right? Everybody. It's amazing. It's amazing. Do you know it's not anywhere in our founding documents? You can't find it. People will say the First Amendment. No, it's not in the First Amendment. It does not say separation of church and state. That came from a letter that Jefferson wrote to the Danbury Baptist Association in 1802 as he was president because they were afraid the government was going to tell him what to preach. And he said, no, the government's not coming into your church. We have a wall of separation of church and state, right? That got warped in the 1940s by a Supreme Court justice. His name was Hugo Black. There's a case that came before the Supreme Court. Hugo Black was a KKK member. He hated blacks and he hated Catholics. And he did not like that Catholics were starting to stand up and say, what the KKK is doing to the blacks is not godly. So he found a way to, in this case, he pulled this letter that was not a founding document. It was a private letter. He says, hey, Thomas Jefferson said separation of church and state. We should make this the standard so that all churches stay out of government policy, which is the opposite of what actually Jefferson was saying. So a Supreme Court justice who was a KKK sympathizer and member who wanted to get the church and godly people out of the way used Jefferson's letter to say, hey, he's a founding father. Do you know how many people think Thomas Jefferson had anything to do with the Constitution? Some people do, right? You know he was in Europe when it was written? Now he wrote the Declaration of Independence where God is mentioned 4 times, but during the Constitution, 1787, he wasn't even in the United States, right? It was James Madison. It was guys like, Hamilton and John Jay and people like that understood, that were diving in. It was Benjamin Rush. It was guys that were there that were saying, hey, there is a creator and we should follow him. And so I will ask people, okay, the phrase separation of church and state. How many articles are there in the United States Constitution? Anybody know?
27.
That's the Declaration of Independence, and those are the grievances. But
27 articles of the Constitution right now, right?
No. Sorry, you're thinking amendments. There's 27 amendments to the Constitution, right? How many articles? Okay, and again, I'm not trying to put you guys on the spot. And Nathan, thank you so much for jumping into that. That was bold. But the point is, people don't even know what the Constitution. They don't even know the structure of the Constitution, right? They don't even. You go to Walmart and you ask anybody in Walmart, hey, how many articles are there in the United States Constitution? What do you think? Out of 10 people, how many people do you think are going to know that? 0, maybe a half a person, right? And they might get it close to being right? And the point I'm making is, isn't it amazing? We all know separation of church and state, something that's not even in a founding document. And I think it was a lie from the pit of hell to get moral people to shut their mouths, to get people who knew there was a creator to get out of the way. So the devil and his voices, and I'm not saying this is people, I'm saying this is spiritual warfare. People, and there are some evil people, right? I'm not saying that all people are just good, and we're all fallen, but there are really evil people, right, in the world. You take Hitler. Like, Hitler was objectively evil, right? I was talking to a guy the other day in a debate, and he's a pastor. He immigrated from Germany. He does not like Christian nationalism. He hates it. He doesn't think there's evil in the world. He thinks we wrestle with an inner evil, and we're all good, but we're wrestling with the inner evil. So he immigrated from Germany. And I said, well, Germany's got an interesting past. And I said, do you objectively think that Adolf Hitler was evil? And he stopped. He's like, well, that's a complicated answer. I said, no, it's not. He's objectively evil, and I'm willing to say that every single day and twice on Sunday, right? And the fact that he was not able to say in that moment, Hitler is objectively evil, tells me we got a big problem, right? We've lost moral truth and objective truth. We've turned into a morally relative society. And that's what we're fighting against, Braden, right? Moral relativism is where we are at and what we're fighting. And I will say this, and then I will move on, because those are 2 awesome questions, man. I love those questions. Thank you for giving me those. This is the battle we're in. We live in a hate-nothing culture right now. Eradicate hate. You hear that. I'm sure you hear that all the time. I think that is a lie from the pit of hell. Yep. We should not eradicate hate. Absolutely never eradicate hate. You'd be saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe a politician actually said that. Love and hate are synonymous, right? How so? I can't actually love something if I don't hate the thing that might hurt that thing that I love, right? And we have turned into a culture that says we're not supposed to hate anything. So when someone comes in and starts shooting up law enforcement officers or shooting up malls or walking out into a pier in Chicago and taking a gun and putting it and shooting a girl, a 19-year-old, as she's running away, we've been told we can't actually hate. So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to hate that. You know what I do? I hate that every single day. I will hate that, and that hatred, because I love that family. I don't even know that family, but I have a love for that family, and my heart breaks for that family that now has forever changed because their 19-year-old daughter was just gunned down for no reason. And so hatred for that act drives me to move and to act on behalf of those people. I never want to see that again, right? So if we stop hating in our culture, we lose love. You know what the opposite of love actually really is? It's not hatred. It's indifference. And if we become an indifferent culture, we will stop being a loving culture. And so love and hate are synonymous. We cannot lose our hatred. Hate what is evil and love what is good, right? And so we got to make sure that as a culture, we have people who know good and know evil, and then and your leaders, your elected leaders should know good and they should know evil. And they should call everybody in the state or in the nation, say, this is good, we should all love this, let's promote this. This is evil, we should all hate this, let's stop this, right? And that's what you don't see from politicians because they're afraid to say, ooh, this is objectively evil. So let's get back to saying, no, the right kind of hate, right? Righteous hate, all right? And so, again,
Intolerance.
yeah, righteous intolerance, that's what it is, right? Don't tolerate evil.